Welcome to Hollywood World. In this video, we are going to uncover the dark, hidden truths behind one of old Hollywood's most iconic stars, Elizabeth Taylor. But this isn't just another story about fame and fortune. This is a shocking, disturbing confession that Elizabeth carried for years, one that ties her to one of the most powerful men in American history, President John F. Kennedy. Before he became a symbol of youth, charisma, and Camelot, JFK was a young politician with access to the highest circles of Hollywood. And at just 15 years old, Elizabeth Taylor found herself in a situation that would haunt her for decades, a secret she revealed in whispered tones, far away from the spotlight. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment your thoughts below. Because what you're about to hear will change the way you see not only Elizabeth Taylor, but the entire golden age of Hollywood, forever. 1. Montgomery Clift, Taylor's dearest friend and co-star in A Place in the Sun. Monty was one of the few people she trusted completely. He knew about her pain and was rumored to have consoled her after the JFK incident. They shared a deep, non-sexual intimacy, and she often said Monty was her soulmate. 2. Rock Hudson, another close friend, and later, Taylor would become one of the few public figures to defend him when his AIDS diagnosis was revealed. Rock and Elizabeth shared late-night conversations about love, secrets, and the trauma of keeping things hidden, themes that echoed in her confessions about JFK. 3. James Dean. While their time together was short, Elizabeth spoke fondly of Dean. During Giant, he confided in her about being sexually abused as a child, opening the door for her to reveal her own teenage trauma. They bonded over broken childhoods and the pressure of Hollywood perfection. 4. Mickey Rooney, a child star like Elizabeth, but one who was swept up early in the MGM machine. Rooney was known for his womanizing, even as a teen. Some insiders claimed he saw how Taylor was treated at parties and turned away. His silence was part of the problem. 5. Roddy McDowall, one of Elizabeth's closest childhood friends. Roddy was often her companion to industry parties. He later admitted that many of those events were dangerous places for young actors. Whether he saw what JFK did is unclear, but he was certainly nearby. 6. Tony Curtis. Curtis and Taylor shared screen time and flirtation, but more importantly, Curtis was privy to the undercurrents of Hollywood politics. He allegedly joked about JFK's Hollywood conquests, perhaps unaware of the true toll they took. 7. Warren Beatty. Though he was younger and came into fame slightly later, Beatty was often compared to JFK in looks and charm. He and Elizabeth would mingle at political events. Years later, Beatty spoke privately about JFK's behavior with starlets, calling it predatory. 8. Peter Lawford, the bridge between Hollywood and the Kennedys. Lawford, Jake's brother-in-law, was notorious for throwing parties that included young actresses. He was allegedly the one who introduced JFK to Taylor, making him an indirect accomplice. 9. Marlon Brando. Brando had a tempestuous friendship with Elizabeth and clashed with JFK over politics. Brando was vocal about his disdain for the Kennedys' entitlement and was one of the few actors who hinted, cryptically, that the president had done things that would shame a priest. 10. Frank Sinatra, leader of the Rat Pack and a close friend of JFK. Sinatra was known for facilitating many of JFK's Hollywood encounters. Whether he knew about Elizabeth's experience is debatable, but his relationship with both parties adds weight to the conspiracy. 11. Richard Burton, Taylor's most famous husband. While their love was toxic and electric, Burton once confided that Elizabeth carried wounds from before I knew her. Many believe he was referring to her early trauma, possibly at JFK's hands. 12. Paul Newman, a quiet observer, Newman and Taylor acted together and shared mutual respect. In private letters, he allegedly expressed discomfort about the Kennedy Circle and its treatment of young women. 13. George Hamilton. Briefly linked to Elizabeth in the 60s, Hamilton often accompanied her to high society functions. He was a known flirt but also a witness to how Elizabeth handled powerful men. He once noted how she would freeze when a certain name was mentioned, JFK. 14. Steve McQueen. McQueen wasn't close to Elizabeth, but he moved in similar circles. He despised the politics of Hollywood and once raged to a reporter about the pigs in power suits who treat girls like toys. Some believe that was a reference to the JFK Hollywood connection. 15. Tab Hunter. Openly closeted during the era, Tab understood the pressure to hide secrets. He later reflected on the price of silence in Hollywood. Though he didn't name names, many believe he was referencing stories like Elizabeth's. 16. Errol Flynn. Though older, Flynn was a known predator who set the tone for Hollywood's dangerous behavior toward minors. Elizabeth never named him, but his influence created a culture that normalized what JFK did to her. 17. Dean Martin. Part of the Rat Pack and close to both Lawford and Sinatra. Dean likely heard rumors of what happened to Elizabeth, but like many of his peers, he kept quiet. Silence was the currency of power. What happened to Elizabeth wasn't just the action of one man, it was the result of a system. The studios, the handlers, the agents, and even fellow stars allowed this behavior to continue. For young actresses, silence was survival. JFK's connections to Hollywood were deeper than most realize. He didn't just party with stars, he used them. And in the case of Elizabeth Taylor, he may have stolen something from her she could never get back. Elizabeth's later marriages, her battles with addiction, and her fierce protection of other young actresses may all trace back to that moment. That night, the public saw her as a glamorous goddess. But behind the eyes of Violet was a young girl who had seen the worst of power, and had to smile through it. In the 1990s, long after JFK's death and during the AIDS crisis, which she became a warrior against, Elizabeth began speaking more candidly to trusted friends. According to a former assistant, Taylor said, "He wasn't president then, just a man, and I was just a girl. That's what makes it worse." Biographers and close friends, including some who worked with her during her AIDS Foundation years, say she often tried to protect young women in the industry. Some believe it was because she wished someone had protected her. She never went public, maybe out of fear, maybe out of shame, or maybe because even Elizabeth Taylor, the most beautiful woman in the world, didn't think anyone would believe her. Narrator, somber, reflective tone. Elizabeth Taylor was more than a screen legend. She was a survivor, not just of addiction, heartbreak, and health crises, but of a Hollywood that took advantage of its youngest and brightest. The story of what JFK did to her is a reminder of the hidden rot behind the glamour. Of the pain behind the eyes of a girl who became a queen. If we're going to celebrate the legends of old Hollywood, we also need to tell the truth. Because behind every diamond-studded red carpet, there are stories like Elizabeth's. Thanks for watching. If you found this video powerful, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment below. Let us know what you think of the 17 actors who were part of Elizabeth's journey, and what other old Hollywood truths you want us to uncover next.